The Battle of Vittorio Veneto, fought between October 24 and November 3, 1918. It was one of the final and most significant battles of World War I. It was a decisive victory for the Allied powers, led by Italy, over the Central Powers, led by Austria-Hungary, and marked the end of the war on the Italian front. At the outbreak of World War I, Italy had initially remained neutral. However, in 1915, the country joined the war on the side of the Allied powers, with the promise of territorial gains in the event of victory. Italy's entry into the war was motivated by a desire to expand its borders, particularly in the region of Trentino, which was then part of Austria-Hungary. Over the course of the war, the Italian front saw some of the deadliest fighting of the conflict. Both sides suffered significant losses, and the front lines remained largely static for years. However, by 1918, the Allied powers had achieved a number of significant victories, including the Battle of Piovi in June, which had repelled an Austrian offensive. Preparation. In the lead-up to the Battle of Vittorio Veneto, the Allied powers launched a major offensive in northern Italy. The Italian army, under the command of General Armando Diaz, was bolstered by reinforcements from France and Britain, and had the advantage of superior numbers and resources. The Central Powers, led by Austria-Hungary, were struggling to maintain their military capabilities. The country was facing economic and social upheaval, and its military was suffering from shortages of supplies and morale. Additionally, the collapse of the Ottoman Empire had further weakened the Central Powers' position. Despite these challenges, the Central Powers attempted to mount a defense against the Allied offensive. However, their efforts were hampered by poor communication and coordination, as well as the deteriorating conditions within the army. The Battle of Vittorio Veneto began on October 24, 1918, with a massive artillery bombardment by the Allied powers. The Italian army, supported by French and British troops, then launched a series of coordinated attacks on the austro-Hungarian lines. Over the course of the next few days, the Italian army made significant gains, breaking through the austro-Hungarian lines and pushing the enemy back. The battle was marked by fierce fighting and heavy casualties on both sides, with the terrain and weather conditions adding to the difficulties faced by the soldiers. By October 28, the Allied powers had succeeded in breaking through the austro-Hungarian lines and had taken control of a number of strategic positions. The Central Powers attempted to mount a counterattack, but were unable to turn the tide of the battle. Over the next few days, the Allied powers continued to press their advantage, steadily pushing the Austro-Hungarian forces back. By November 3, the Central Powers had been decisively defeated, and Austria-Hungary was forced to sue for peace. Aftermath. The Battle of Vittorio Veneto was a significant victory for the Allied powers, and marked the end of the war on the Italian front. The battle had been a long and difficult one, but the superior resources and tactics of the Allied powers had ultimately proved decisive. The victory at Vittorio Veneto paved the way for the final victory of the Allied powers in World War I. The defeat of Austria-Hungary and the Central Powers led to the collapse of the empire and the redrawing of the political map of Europe. For Italy, the Battle of Vittorio Veneto was a significant moment in its history. The country had achieved its long-standing goal of territorial expansion with the acquisition of Trentino and other areas.